Stom woke up one day and realized he had the power to control technology with his mind. Every screen, every device, every digital secret within his reach. But this power is not a gift. It is a curse. Comment on what you would do. Would you help people with this power, or would it consume you? Greetings to everyone commenting. You know how much it helps me when you do. Don't forget to leave your like, get comfortable, and let's check out this cool summary. Of course, the story begins with the normal life of Tom. He is 16 years old, goes to school, and lives with his grandmother, Nana, since he lost his parents. One day, he reunites with his old friend Danny, and then he meets a girl named Lucy who asks him for help with her schoolwork. Naturally, Tom's life is not so easy. He studies and helps others but carries the pain of his past. One night, at Lucy's house, he sees her hero lying unconscious and a man recording something. Before he can react, a masked man appears and shoots Tom. Injured, he flees to call the police, but the attackers pursue him, leaving him gravely wounded. Days later, he wakes up in the hospital with Nana by his side. The doctor tells him that a bullet had shattered his phone near his ear, embedding fragments in his brain that cannot be removed. If they were, he'd go with St. Peter, rendering his future uncertain. After all this, Tom goes back home but notices very strange things. The numbers on the car radio look odd, and he sees strange lights. He finds some relief while sleeping, but the next morning, Nana tells him that Lucy had been attacked that very night and urges him to visit her. When he goes to Lucy's, he discovers that she has acquired a unique new ability. She can listen in on conversations from electronic devices, accessing every piece of data on one's cell phone, even the browsing history, every little detail. And all of this is thanks to the phone fragments embedded in her brain. Although overwhelmed by this power, it helps her uncover some truth. At Lucy's, Tom finds her brother Yuji, who is awake and talking while using his ability. Tom detects Wi-Fi signals and regrets not having protected Lucy. He apologizes to her, and she, understanding his struggles, expresses hope for the future. On his way home, his powers intensify, allowing him to listen to hidden conversations, and overwhelmed by it all, he faints. In his unconscious state, he has a vision of Uji, who reveals that Uji was present on the night Lucy was attacked. After waking up, Tom tells Nana that he plans to return to school after undergoing the necessary surgery, and although she is worried, she supports his decision. Back at school, he reunites with Danny and shares his suspicions about Uji. Danny dismisses them, saying that Uji might be troublesome but could never be something terrible. Later on the school bus, Tom notices that everyone is using their phones, which leads him to observe their signals and get lost in his thoughts. Danny mentions a night party and asks if Tom will go. Though uncertain, he replies yes. At school, he focuses on Uji's phone, suspecting it might harm Lucy. As the day progresses, Tom sees that Uji receives a video through his new abilities and discovers that it is the video of Lucy's attack. Upon noticing this, he becomes furious and concentrates his energy to make Uji's phone overheat. It is then that he realizes he can manipulate phones by controlling their signals. Feeling empowered, Tom decides to use this power to confront those who hurt his beloved Lucy. That same night, Tom goes to the party Danny mentioned. There, he sees Uji's friends wearing shoes similar to those worn by the men at Lucy's house during the attack, which further confirms his suspicions. He becomes aggressive with Uji, who does not take kindly to it, and a fight nearly breaks out until Danny intervenes and stops the confrontation. Despite Danny's disbelief, Tom remains convinced that Uji was involved in Lucy's assault. After the party, he talks with Lucy and urges her to return to school. She hesitates, fearful of facing her attackers, but he reassures her by emphasizing that they need to study together and confront all challenges that come their way. While they are talking, they see Uji with 3 friends on the street, confirming Tom's belief that they were the attackers. Back at home, Tom continues to see signals and calculations, as if his mind had developed an extraordinary capacity to perceive things beyond normal human senses. At night, he begins his act of revenge by first sending an anonymous message to Uji's group. Using his newfound ability, he has learned to hack mobile phone servers and various electronic devices. With his mind, he infiltrates Uji's phone and extends his reach to all the electronic devices, both in Uji's house and in those of his friends, revealing very private moments and, notably, searching through their galleries. One such moment includes catching Cass in an embarrassing act in his room. The next day in class, Tom uses the projector to show the video of Cass's embarrassing moment, and the entire class erupts in laughter, leaving Cass publicly humiliated. He suffers the worst part of this public shame when, later on, while visiting Lucy, he captivates her with the latest story he has to share, maintaining an air of mystery. Initially, he contacts her nonchalantly, referring to himself as Iboy, then invites her to enjoy the view by the river, signaling a positive shift in her healing process. She confides that after the traumatic incident, he was the only one who visited and consoled her, and he sincerely promises to always protect her, even at the cost of sacrificing himself. However, on his way back, an unexpected twist occurs when he reunites with Iji and the rest of his friends. To everyone's surprise, they claim to feel sorry for Lucy and announce that they are independently investigating to find the perpetrators behind her attack. Tom knows that all of this is a lie. As tension mounts, Eiji is about to attack Tom, but Tom sends an anonymous message to Eiji and his friends, creating confusion. Seizing the opportunity, Tom and Lucy escape quickly. The fight between Tom and Eiji continues through the night when Eiji and his three friends find themselves mysteriously locked inside a car. The engine starts on its own, emitting smoke, and using the radio, Tom demands to know why they attacked Lucy. Frightened, they reveal that they were ordered by someone named Cuss, and then Kay finally speaks up, confessing his involvement in the assault. Tom, having discovered the mastermind behind the crimes, immediately heads to Cuss's house and unexpectedly encounters Keon, and even Danny is present in the room. A camera recording shows someone urinating on Cuss's car, diverting attention immediately. They then head towards Y. Taking advantage of the moment, Tom uses his mind to infiltrate Cuss's lair, provoking chaos and manipulating everything related to electricity. At that moment, he finds several packets of drugs, takes them, and his actions do not end there. He places the drugs in the house of O and his friends. Later, we see that the next day the police arrive and arrest the group, each with the incriminating evidence implanted, since they had to face the consequences at the police station. Meanwhile, Cuss's accounts are suddenly drained. That very night, Tom receives a chilling warning message from the big boss atop an imposing building. In his quest for justice, Tom struggles to trace the whereabouts of Elman, but for some reason his brain system fails to locate Elman, as if his data existed beyond reach or any existing network. Under Elman's orders, a citywide effort and chaos are unleashed to locate Iboy, seizing all computers and electronic devices that could potentially be used for hacking. But what they did not know was that Tom does not depend solely on electronics to develop his unique abilities. And the next day, he disrupts Elman's drug trafficking with a plan to foil an important deal. Worried by Tom's changed behavior, Nana seeks Danny's help to monitor him. Meanwhile, Tom continues following Cuss's car, but loses the signal when Cuss skillfully throws his cell phone into the trash during their struggle. Tom hears the sound of a plane and quickly decides to hack a satellite. In this way, he finally manages to locate Cuss at the port. Surprisingly, Iboy's abilities are remarkable. Simply by searching for martial arts online, he is able to instantly master them with his new powers, knocking out the guards and destroying all the drugs he finds. Unfortunately, Cuss's men suddenly appear and begin to attack him, not realizing that he is far too powerful. He uses high interference sound to disrupt everyone's hearing, enabling his escape. The next day, Tom wakes up by the river, disoriented and exhausted. Meanwhile, Lucy is waiting for him at school, as they had promised to take an exam together. Unfortunately for Tom, he arrives just as the exams end, leaving her both disappointed and angry with him. Still, he continues trying to persuade her until they leave the campus building, only to be shocked by the sight of Cuss's body hanging, a vision that leaves everyone disturbed. Tom meets Danny and asks about Cass's death, prompting Danny to blame Iboy for the tragedy. Feeling guilty over that death, Tom seeks solace with his doctor and asks for the extraction of the phone shards embedded in his brain. However, the doctor tells him that if they are removed, he would go with St. Peter regardless. But this isn't the end. When Tom gets home, he is met with a big surprise. Cohen is waiting for him, pointing a gun at his head, with Elman and Cuss also present, and KZ holding Nana. Curiously, Tom cannot see Elman's face, as if something were interfering with his brain's frequency. Elman, aware of Tom's abilities, threatens to kill Lucy if Tom does not comply with his demands. While Tom is trapped, Lucy is ambushed by OG. Tom remembers that he has an incredibly powerful ability and quickly uses his hacking skills to compromise OG's cell phone, urgently calling the police to rescue Lucy, a call that should have been made half an hour earlier, as in the movie Brothers. Simultaneously, Elman contacts Danny, who reveals that the entity known as Iboy is actually Tom, but since he is his friend, he accepted all the money in the world and, shockingly, betrayed him without a second thought. Then, Elman imprisons Tom so he can hack a bank and restore the balance of an account that had mysteriously been drained using his mind. Tom gradually manages to refill the empty account, and on the other side, we see the police finally arriving at the place where Lucy is being held. Lucy exclaims, "Thank God, they are going to save me." But the police prove useless. Or perhaps they just wanted to prolong the movie, since 3 kids managed to escape. However, Lucy uses the power of feminism to grab a gun and defeat the oppressive men. But just as everything seems to be fine, Tom appears with Hellman, who is pointing a gun at her and says, "Damn it, Tom, you only have one task. You have a hell of a lot of power." He lists a bunch of things, and once again, due to Tom's inadequacy, he becomes a loser. To top it all off, Hellman demands much more money, and noticing that Hellman is holding the phone, Tom seizes the opportunity to blow it up. Then, using his unique abilities, Tom easily defeats all of Hellman's men, and Hellman flees with Tom in pursuit. However, Tom finds himself trapped with Hellman, who suddenly appears behind him and throws him to the ground just as Hellman is about to send him with St. Peter. Lucy arrives, and with a gun in her hand, she shoots Hellman in the arm, but her empowerment lasts only 5 seconds as they manage to grab her weapon and throw her to the ground. So Tom gathers every bit of his remaining machismo and determination to save her, stands up, and unleashes his true power, a powerful electric discharge that instantly kills Hellman. After the intense confrontation, Tom is exhausted and wakes up the next day in the hospital. As the days pass, his life gradually returns to normal, and on his way to Lucy's house, he meets Danny again. Danny apologizes, feeling ashamed of his greedy actions, but Tom reveals that he knew Danny was at the house on the day of the incident, and moreover that he had filmed the entire event. And just when you thought the movie couldn't get any worse, Tom simply tells him, "We can no longer be friends. I never want to see you again. You expletive made me so angry, because in the end, you faced an entire criminal gang just to take revenge, and that friend who literally betrayed me like Judas. I just say to you, screw you, and that's it." Well, everyone died. Oh no, they all lived happily ever after, sharing a kiss.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.